coffee. Hey, Brian. Antonio. I love coffee so much. It's got to be unhealthy. What's up, Plastic? I just ended the TikTok stream. So then just moved over here. I'll give people a minute to roll over. Hit the follow button if you haven't. Turn notifications so when I go live, you don't miss anything. But drop in the comments if you've came over from TikTok. Or actually just, I don't know, I guess I don't know what I'm asking. How do we keep on top of all crypto news? I mean, you don't. You're right, Ryan. I don't know, you don't. And a lot of news is a lot of noise. The major stuff is few and far between. Yeah, Antonio, I was on TikTok here for a bit, and I was on there too long because, as you know, I'm trying to really more transition over here to YouTube because TikTok I'm just so tired of them pointing a gun to my head. I'll sit here, be on a live stream on TikTok, talking about crypto, and all of a sudden the screen will just go black, and then it'll pop up and say, "You've been flagged for frauds and scams," and I'm like, the fuck? And then I appeal it, and half the time, maybe 50, probably about 50% of the time, it gets flagged by a bot, and then it just randomly goes through what they say is a real person, but I think it's just someone that just randomly clicks a button that says approve or disapprove. And like 50% of the time, the appeal sticks, and now I can't go live for days, and I have a strike on my account, and I gotta wait for that to fall off for 90 days, and if I get 3 strikes, my account's permanently banned. I've been to 2 strikes more times than I can remember. Over the holidays, Merry fucking Christmas, that's what happened to me. I went live 2 straight times, I got a fucking strike. And so I was like, I can't go live for I can't even use YouTube, not even make a post or TikTok for 90 days. Because I'm just at risk. And even then, they might just flag some post I did 3 years ago, which happened to me when I was at the Bitcoin conference. All of a sudden, I don't know what their system was doing, but it flagged 3 pieces of my old content from literally 3 years prior. I'm like, no one's even watching it. It was 3 years old. Why are you? And I'm just so sick of it. So I need to diversify. Plus, TikTok might get kicked out of America anyways. So, and me as a user, YouTube is about the only damn thing I actually use. I use Twitter a little bit, but I don't watch TikTok. I don't watch Instagram really. YouTube is 99% of my social media that I actually use as a person. I like it the most. TikTok can't be trusted, I agree. Is it profitable to trade crypto? It can be for most people, it's not. And then, depends how you do it. If you only do a few trades a year when the perfect storms line up, it's very hard to lose, but you gotta have a lot of patience. Once people start fleeing TikTok, they'll start taking their policies a little more serious. Something like that. Well, let's get started here. Let's hop into some charts. You guys know I like charts. Or actually, since we're here on YouTube, some of you weren't even on TikTok, drop a few questions in here. Let's go through some of that, and then I'll kind of run through my charts with you, what I think's going down, where I think the probabilities lie, stuff like that. TikTok equals censorship. I mean, to a degree, they all do, but I don't know. I don't know, man. It's just such an automated system that it just, I don't know, whatever. I'm way too levered on that one account. All my other social accounts have nobody on them. I'm 99% in TikTok. That's just poor for me as a content creator, and if you want to call it a business. But it's just I've worked a long time. I've been doing crypto content for 4 years now. And if TikTok were to throw me off, I almost have to start back at zero. from the laptop than the phone. I mean, I'm on my phone. I think Bitcoin dominance will drop like last year. I think it's well within the realm of possibility. As a matter of fact, let's pull up the Bitcoin dominance chart real quick. Let me find it. Where is it? Here it is. Oh no, here it is. Let me pull that up real quick. Good question. Let's look at that real quick, because that is an important thing to be paying attention to at all times. So this is the weekly chart. This is what I was saying when I got into crypto back in 2017. Look at that. Bitcoin made up almost 96%. As a matter of fact, if I go back a little bit further, Bitcoin made up almost 96% back in 2017. Almost 96% of all of crypto. That means for every dollar in crypto, 96 cents of it was in Bitcoin. And the rest was in ETH, XRP, and Litecoin. That's what I was saying. I was saying that over on TikTok. That like I'm bursting people's bubbles. Is I'm saying, listen, 2025 crypto is not 2021 or 2017 crypto. The 100Xs, the 200Xs, the turning $1,000 into $1 million, it just doesn't exist really anymore. In 2017, there was only 4 things to fucking buy. All the money was going into those 4 things. It was very easy. 2021, a lot harder, because a lot more altcoins came on board, but it was still more clear because you had DeFi, you had layer 1s, you had NFTs, and they were real infrastructure fundamental pieces of the technology. So you kind of couldn't miss a lot of times there either. Not that you were necessarily getting 100Xs, but you could. But 2025, there's so many coins. There are like, what? I don't even know. Maybe millions of coins now? There's more money in crypto, but it's so distributed and spread out now that to get 100Xs is it's just extremely, incredibly unlikely. If it happens for you, it'll be nothing but pure dumb luck. And exponentially rare. But we're in an environment where getting 2, 3, 4, 5, even 10Xs is quite possible. 2, 3Xs I feel is kind of hard not to do, but most people completely ignore that. Most people don't want to hear that. That's not good enough for them because they need to get rich fucking today, bro. And I'm like, all that's going to happen is you're going to get poor today and you're still going to be poor years from now, when if you just took those 2, 3Xs when they came your way and let them stack up over a few years, you'd be fucking rich. You just got to be more patient now. Put a 1 in the chat if you're cool with that. If you're cool with taking 2, 3, 4Xs and letting those stack up over a few years. Put a 2 if you just need that 100X this year. That's the only way you got to go. Sorry about it. See a lot of 1s coming in. Smart people. That's just the environment we're in. And that's still better than any market on the planet by a fucking long ways, right? In the stock market, it averages what, like 10 to 12% a year. And they sell you on, invest in the stock market, do your 401k, buy the index funds, and over the course of your 30-year career, you'll be a millionaire, maybe multimillionaire, and you'll be able to retire comfortably, right? So that's a very patient, long game. But then for some reason we come to crypto, and most people can't wait a few years to 10, 20, 30X their money. They have to get 100, 200X fucking today, bro. And it's just, I'm just trying to set people's expectations more reasonably, more appropriately, more accomplishability. I don't fucking know, whatever word. So over here in Bitcoin dominance, right? Bitcoin dominance back in 2017 fell from 96% in early 2017. By the end of 2017, it was all the way as low as 36%. And by the way, Bitcoin price, right here to here, even though its dominance fell a fuckload, its price went from like $2,000 to $20,000. It like 10, 20x'd. And it still dropped in dominance. Went from being 90, up here, it made up 96 cents of every dollar in crypto when Bitcoin was like $1,000, $2,000. And then it went down to only being 36 cents of every dollar, even though it was at 20 grand. So this was the first real altcoin season. This is the craziest altcoin season there will ever be. This is the second craziest altcoin season there will ever be. This was 2021. Bitcoin right here, look at this. In December, at the end of the year in 2020, it was at 73.6%. So every dollar in crypto, 73 cents of it was in Bitcoin. And then it dropped. In May, dropped down here to 39%. Altcoin season. And Bitcoin went from like 14K to 64K. Bitcoin went up like 4X. And its dominance still fell like crazy. Meaning altcoins probably went up about 8X on average, right? Here, Bitcoin went up like 10X and its dominance fell to 1/3 of what it was. So that means altcoins went up like 30X on average. Here, Bitcoin went up 4X, altcoins went up about 8X, right? Here, when this drops, where's it going to drop to? Good question. These are the areas I'm looking. This trend line right here, 52%. Supports, I should say, 48%. And then if we get real lucky, maybe it comes down to this one, which connects the bottom of that bull market in 2017 and the bottom of that bull market in 2021, okay? If we get lucky, we come down here to maybe low 40s. So somewhere in this zone between about 43% and 58%. Right now we're at 61.4, not 58%, 52%. Somewhere between 40, basically 43 and 52%. And you also notice that going all the way back to right here, really all the way back to right here, since this first breakout. This was where it was resistance, and it broke out, okay? And then went up to here. So since June of 23, we'll say, right? So that's 2 years ago, over 2 years ago. Bitcoin dominance has just been staying in this channel, bouncing off the top, the bottom, the top, the bottom, the top, the bottom, the top. Oh no, here we go, altcoin season, fake out. This was at the end of last year, right here. Fake out, boom. Oh, and then it broke out of there. Holy crap, here we go. And now it's back in the channel. And now this latest drop we had where Bitcoin pumped up to 123 and then ETH and Solana, et cetera, started pumping as ETH pulled back some. Guess where it brought us? Right here to the bottom of this channel. So if we're going to have an altcoin season, we need Bitcoin dominance to firmly break below this channel. And in reality, it's going to come somewhere between here, 52%, and down here, 43%. So it's about a 9-10% range. What am I doing? I'm twiddling my thumbs. What am I doing? I'm sitting on my hands. There isn't much to be done until Bitcoin dominance breaks down. So everyone's screaming altcoin season is Chicken Little and the Boy That Cried Wolf. Until that confirms a breakdown, which isn't just when it comes out, because everyone was screaming, altcoin season, here we go. And I was inclined to believe it, but there was no confirmation. Right? This was December of last year when we had that pump, broke down below the channel. And then what? Swiftly came back up, corrected hard. It's like a rubber band. Pulled down tighter than usual and snapped up further than usual, okay? And then it's been back in the channel in its confines. What we want to see is it to finally break down. And until that happens, it's not altcoin season. And I'm going to say it again, we may not have an altcoin season the way most people think of it. Because I promise you, most people are thinking this altcoin season. There will never be another altcoin season like this. There won't even be one like this. This is going to be the weakest altcoin season ever. So no 100Xs, But 5, maybe 10Xs, maybe some 20s sprinkled in there, sure. But 100Xs, 300Xs, gone. We're not in 2017, we're not in 21, we're in 2025, right? Bitcoin dominance was up here in 2017, again, at about 96%. And in 2021, Bitcoin dominance was at about 72, 73%, okay? 3 years later. Well, 4 years later. And Bitcoin dominance, again, probably over here won't get this high. Probably won't get up to 73%. So it's coming close, right? We were at 96, 73. Right now, we're at 61, but we got up to a high of about 66. See? So I really don't see Bitcoin dominance. Could it make a new alt? It could. And it very well may. But I just don't see it having much higher that it can go. I think the probabilities really don't favor it. But right now, we've just had that drop down to what? To the bottom part of the channel. And is it going to break through? I hope so. God, I hope so. But every time it's come down so far, it goes back up. So probabilities favor that it still probably goes back up. You know, maybe to here. That would be late August. That'd put us somewhere around 67 and a half. Could be. But I think eventually by the end of the year, because look where this goes up to. Almost 70% by the end of the year if it stays in this channel. I just don't see that as very likely. I think eventually between here and here, which is between now and the end of the year, this has got to break down. Is it a guarantee? Of course not. I'm just looking at probabilities. And to me, the probability, and if I want to get logical about it, well, the channel is showing me, and to a lot of you, it may look like witchcraft and who cares about little lines and channels, the shit's all random. Well, you, my friend, haven't been around very long and you haven't done much of this, if that's what you think. Humble yourself. There is order to these charts. Order. There's order. It's not chaos. It is order. It all makes sense because at the end of the day, what is a chart? Someone drop in the comments. What is a chart? What is it? Drop in the comments. What would you say a chart is? And then I'll tell you the way I look at what a chart is. It is information. History book, sure. Which are all ordered, non-chaotic things. Representation of feeling of humans. Human behavior, yeah. I mean, Antonio and Brian's answer is combine them. That's pretty much the way I see a chart. It's a representation of human behavior in a specific market. That's what it is here. Because these are all buying and selling, buying and selling, buying and selling. When the market gets really scared, boom, Bitcoin dominance goes up. When the market gets super greedy, boom, Bitcoin dominance goes down. This is greed as hell. This is fear. Getting a little bit more comfortable, fear, boom, greed. Greed, greed, fear, 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 fear. So all buying and selling, this is a representation, an accurate representation of human behavior of buying and selling in a market. It's very ordered. It's very ordered. There's nothing chaotic about it. Doesn't mean you can know what it's going to do tick to tick, but you can tell when it's getting towards a top and a bottom. And the more history that chart has, the more dependable it is. And this Bitcoin chart is 16 and a half years old. Plenty old now. Slayman says, so then wouldn't it make sense to look at ETH dominance in relation to Bitcoin? You would like, looking at ETH dominance is a good thing. Now let me show you something. I actually have that chart pulled up here. Okay, this is the 5-day chart. So right here, this chart is going back to July 2017. ETH is a bit older than that, but this is good enough, right? So that was like peak ETH dominance, middle of 2017. And then it went nothing but down until September of 2019. And then it went nothing but up until December of 21, which was the top of the last cyclical bull market. Then it chopped sideways, had a nice drop here during Luna, came back up, chopped sideways on this trend line. Look at that. Touch, 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 touch. Tried to touch, broke down. And we've been breaking down since June of 24. So for an entire year, it's full on been breaking down. Ethereum dominance. Last year in June, it was at 18.5%. It went all the way down to 7%. And right now we're at 11.7%. Okay? But you see these wedges I have here, it broke below that shit. I could call that a deviation, and it's trying to reclaim the range. Okay? To me, until proven otherwise, I think this was a deviation and or maybe just a good old support line. See? Look at that. Exactly where that was to exactly where that was. But nonetheless, I think it's trying to reclaim this range. Right here. And it's in the middle, it's got a good chance. If it keeps going, I would expect it to get close to 18% by the end of the year. And in a bull market, that's exactly what you want to see, right? This is a bear market. Well, that's not true. Because this, no, that is right. Well, that's not true because this was a bull market. But Ethereum went up a ton, but its dominance still dropped because so much money went into other alts. And then this was, well, maybe this was peak. Maybe this is peak Ethereum right here, actually. And this is bear market, bull market, chop, 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 bear market, trying to hold up, bull market for Bitcoin. And now hopefully altcoin bull market, right? There's an altcoin bull market. Hopefully we see another altcoin bull market right here. That's the hope. Hopefully this continues. I think there would be some pretty significant resistance here, about 14 and a half, a little bit more at about 16 and a half. And then if we really get lucky, it gets up here to 18. But I will most likely be out by that time. Like out, other than Bitcoin. I'll hold my Bitcoin. I always hold my Bitcoin. Is any of this guaranteed? Absolutely not. I'm looking at a chart, assessing probabilities of outcomes. Pattern is that last half of the post-halving year, which is where we are, is where every bull market, cyclical bull market has ended. And when it comes on really quick towards the late part of the second half of the year. But No matter what happens, I will adjust. And I position myself for multiple outcomes to benefit nicely if it goes up, but without taking on too much risk if it goes down. And I want to be very clear here, right? Like, there are so many altcoins now that ETH dominance probably isn't as relevant as it once was. One thing to really look at is stablecoin dominance. This is stable. This is Tether plus USDC, okay? Now, whenever this is going up, the market is scared. Whenever it's going down, the market is taking on more risk. So Bitcoin altcoins are likely going up. And ever since December of 2022, stablecoin dominance has been dropping. It was up here in December 22 at almost 15%. And it's been going down. This was our first real drop in March when Bitcoin made a new all-time high, right, of like 74K. Went down to just under 5%. Bounced up as Bitcoin and altcoins went down. And then we had another run up into, guess when? December. As stablecoin dominance went down, Bitcoin and altcoins went up. Here's this, and now we're coming down here. As you see though, we've met this trend line, which, where does that come from? Comes from right here. I connected this one, and it would probably connect to this one too. To here, to here. And I have this kind of as an upper range. I could probably redraw that one a bit, but I connected it to that. So we're in this little wedge. I really want to see it break below here. I think there's a good chance it can come down here to where these two spots hit, which is about 5%. But what I really hope to see, again, hopefully by the end of the year, is that it comes somewhere down here under 4%. Right now, it's at basically 6. If that can happen, if Bitcoin dominance can drop down into the low 50s and even hopefully into the 40s, and stablecoin dominance can drop to the low 4s or sub 4s, that is when you sell. I mean, when should you sell? Your choice. Maybe this scenario I'm laying out never happens. But if that scenario happens, I'm going to tell you right now, you're not going to listen to me at all. You're going to be so drunk on the greed and euphoria of the market. You're going to be so drunk, most of you, that you're not going to listen. And I'm going to say, look, it is screaming danger. Screaming danger. Everything has come down to exactly the lines that I've been looking at for 2 years. This is the exact zone. And if it comes into that zone, if that happens, it is much riskier. I'll put it this way. It's much riskier to be in the market than out of the market. Because you got to remember, when things go up, especially fast, like they do in crypto, they always end up coming back down. Maybe not down to where they took off from, but they significantly come down from their top. You don't need to get the top. If it goes up higher, don't give a shit. Sit back, twiddle your thumbs, sit on your hands, touch grass, go watch a movie, and wait for months till that shit comes back into a clear value zone, and then hit that fat pitch. And then just wait again for it to go back up. That's what I do. You do whatever you want, but you're here on my channel wondering what I do, what I'm thinking, the way I look at stuff, and that's all I can give you. The only thing I'm selling is Solana. I'll sell everything but Bitcoin. There's no reason to hold anything other than Bitcoin. There's just not. And if you think there is, you've drank the Kool-Aid. Not saying they're not valuable for the long term, but when shit rips, it's going to rip back down eventually. And not as far away as you think. Every time. Even Bitcoin. But Bitcoin is becoming increasingly less volatile because it's being held by stronger and stronger hands. Can't say that for literally anything else. What about ETH? I wouldn't say it. Aligns with my thought process, but I couldn't understand how the dominance affected it. I thought it'd just be market volume playing a role. You'll see volume increase, you know, in times of massive pumps and massive dumps. You'll see big spikes. Like, you'll see it in other charts too, like right here. Like, look, this is stablecoin dominant still. You can see this big drop. You see volume really increased, right? You see this big drop, volume really increased, but otherwise it's pretty muted, right? We did have a bit of a pump here, but then you see the sell coming down into it. So the reality is, when you see these big spikes in volumes on stablecoin dominance, it's usually pretty close to a bottom. And we had a big pump here, big dump of dominance. So it was a big pump in the crypto market. Same thing here. This was December, right? That was March, December. Really, I would say probably anything kind of above this zone is out of the ordinary, right? Because like what? 85% of the time, volume is below here. So this was, guess when this was? This was 2021 bull market right here. That's what this was. Going into March, big pump. March, April, May. Bitcoin went to like 64K, and then there was a big drop and then came here. Where Bitcoin and crypto made newer all-time highs, but more money was in the market too. So this is actually a bit of a divergence. This is actually a pretty clear sign that that's a double top in Bitcoin and crypto. And so the point I'm making, because you brought up the volume thing, is when we kind of get above this line, which we just did back here, okay? That's another warning sign that it's quite possible that stablecoin dominance does a pop. Maybe it comes all the way up to here, which would really freaking suck, but it is what it is. But right now, I'm not going to say definitely it could be the beginning of one of these types of things, right? Because if you look at it line up, kind of lines up with about that candle right there, which was in February of 21. Well, the rest of 21 was beautiful for crypto, and especially the next few months. So we just had that. It's very possible that could be the signal telling us here we go. But then you look at this one back here, and that was a signal for the bottom, right? When Bitcoin got to 74K right there. And then we went down and sideways for like 8 months until Trump won and we came back. And now we have a drop in stablecoin dominance and a rise in volume, a little bit higher than this one, yet it didn't come down as low. So that worries me a little bit, just to be straight with you. Just to be straight with you. You guys liking this so far? I only see 7 likes on the stream. If you'd be so kind to turn your phone sideways and hit the like button and the follow button, that would be quite awesome. As a matter of fact, until we get to at least 10 likes, we're already at 7. I'm not going to continue to stream till the 41 of you or whatever on here hit the like button and get us to 10. Still not to 10. Greedy takers. Can't even give a like. There we go. I guess we got to 10. Boy, that was harder than it should have been. Can't be bothered. You guys remember Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's business partner who passed away a bit ago? He had a saying that I really, really liked. He said, in this world, there's givers, there's takers, and there's break-eveners. He goes, givers are really, really rare. Takers are very common, and break-eveners are pretty common too. Givers will just give. Takers will just take. Break-eveners will always keep count. Did I give this? Have you given enough back to me? Stuff like that. He goes, what's interesting is the most successful people I've ever met are givers. Because what's amazing is when you give, the universe gives back to you. Most people are takers. At best, they're break-eveners. Be a giver. If you can't give a like to a guy out here giving all this shit to you, you are not going to make it in life, and you're going to have so many problems that you already have, and you wonder where they're coming from. No matter who you are, even if you're doing well, whether it's good or bad or whatever your life situation is, anybody, it's because of you. It's because of you, not anybody else. See, we all need to look ourselves in the mirror and do a regular assessment. But what do I know? I'm just some dude on the other side of the screen. So looking at these charts over here, right, we looked at total crypto market cap. Again, I talked about this on TikTok. I'll run through it again real quick. Well, let's draw the lines, a scribble. He doesn't know what he's doing. Humble yourself. So crypto total market cap has been trading between this line and this line for over 8 years. These other lines are just little other spots for me to look at, but the major ones to look at are this and this. These were deviations down here. When I draw that up, isn't it interesting that it connects? We touch here, touch here. This is 2018, by the way. Touch here, touch here, touch here, touch here, touch here, touch here. Wow. Chaos, right? Nice order to it. Hitting this line too, which was that top, this kind of mid-bull cycle move. Mid-bull cycle move. Pre-halving, pre-halving. Actually, that wasn't pre-halving. I take that. Oh, wait, no, that was pre-halving. No, that was not pre-halving. I take that back. That was December. Nonetheless, post-halving here. Connect, connect, connect. Look at that. Connect. This was back when? June 2019. This is 6 years ago. Came here, hit this spot in March of 24, so 5 years ago, and then this spot in December, right? That top, big pullback, touches that top, big pullback, touches that top, big pullback, and now we're making our way back up to it. This is the first line, my friends, that we need to get through. We need to get through this line if we want to see what most of us envision as an altcoin season, which is, we have a nice uptrend going here, but this is what altcoin season looks like when the verticality increases, accelerates. If we have to get above this line for the verticality to increase, to accelerate. And then this is the next line to look at, which goes all the way back down to here, because we've been below this diagonal line ever since September of 22. For 3 years, we've been below this line, even though we've made new all-time highs in total crypto market cap. Okay, we've barely made new all-time highs. Our all-time high, again, was 3.01 trillion back in 2021. And we finally broke it, in December to 3.6, and we did break it again this month to 3.94, just under 4, okay? But if we want to go vertical, we got to get through this line, and that would be nice. If we can get through this line before the end of the year, I expect to hit that, right? That's the end of the year. That would put us at about 8.2 trillion. And if we can bust through that by the end of the year, that would put us at about almost 13 trillion. So since I don't see patterns as really being broken right now in the crypto market, does it look exactly the same? Of course not. But the patterns and the confines of the patterns, I haven't seen any confirmed disruption of the patterns. So I'm not going to assume anything other than the pattern is still intact, because the patterns are still intact. So is anything that I'm saying guaranteed? Of course not. But I'm just saying that the possibilities are solid. Are they more likely than not? I can't say. But they're significant enough that it needs to be talked about. That if we were to break this line, we're going to end up somewhere between 8 and 13 trillion by the end of the year. And you may be thinking, but we're only at 3.8. That's insane. Well, guess what people thought back here when this shit happened? Guess what people thought back here when that shit happened? Bull run, altcoin season. That's what altcoin season looks like. And to get from 3.8 to 13 isn't shit from multiples perspective of going from 324 billion to 3 trillion, right? That's a 10x in market cap. I'm talking about a, what, 4x? Excuse me, barely a 3x, 3.5x? This was a 10x last cycle. And the one before that, you want to get real crazy, right? We were down here at 3 billion and we went all in when? September 15 and went all the way up to 715 billion, doing a 225x, 225x right here, 10x right here. You don't think we can do a 3.5x from right here? You don't think it's possible? All right. Cool. Have fun not knowing shit. How's that working out for you? Am I saying it's definitely going to happen? I am not. But to think it's not possible, you're just foolish. And you're new. Brian says it's a 4x. Well, about 3.5. Because 3.8 to 13. Whatever. I mean, it's semantics, right? 8 to 13. So somewhere between a 2 and 3.5x from here by the end of the year for total crypto. Anyone that says that's not possible is foolish. Anyone that says it's definitely going to happen is also foolish. I'm just saying it's well within the realm of possibility. And to me, where's it going to break down to if it breaks down? It just seems there's a lot more, it's closer to a bottom than a top. We've been following this trend line right here. We've been in this range, see this line? And this line, we've been in between these two lines for over 8 years. Ever since going all the way back to about right here, August of 2017. So, excuse me, for 8 years, we've been in that box with very little deviation, slight deviation, bottom of the bear market, and that was fucking COVID. Other than that, we haven't been below this line. But this diagonal line, bear market bottom, triple tap, COVID broke it, touched there, touched there, touched there, touched there, support zone, and we've been below this for 3 years. To me, we are in the lower quadrant. So I don't see a whole lot of room for this to break down, but I see a lot of room for it to break up. But I'm gonna twiddle my thumbs and sit on my hands, touch grass, walk on mountains, hug people I love, laugh at funny movies, and just fucking wait. And then, when this shit gets up here, if it gets up here, I'll go sell. And I'll be telling you, I'm selling. You'll go, you silly man, you're gonna miss out on so much. It's going so much higher. Why you doing all that? That's silly. XRP, LPWZ to the moon, man. I remember my first year in crypto. I've been here 8 years, over 8 years. I've seen fucking everything. Not everything. I've seen a lot. I've been through a lot. I made a lot of mistakes. I made some good decisions. But as you keep going, put it this way. You're a lot happier to just take profit and not get every single fucking dollar you can. Because you realize you get to keep living to fight another day. Let me show you something. Lifetime chart of Bitcoin. Goes all the way back, this chart goes all the way back to October of 2009. Now Bitcoin was came into existence in January of 09, but the chart here goes back to October 09. Good enough, it was like a penny. Look at this chart, nothing but up. But it goes down, man. It goes down. You're wrong. It goes down, man. It goes down. Go somewhere else. Higher, high, low, higher, low, higher, higher, low, higher, higher, low, higher, high. It's a perpetual uptrend. When you push the sell button, when shit's all high, you're gonna get another opportunity. The markets keep going. You will get another opportunity to enter. And the thing is, you just keep doing that. In reality, most people will be very well off just making probably like a couple trades a year and just waiting for that big fat beach ball of a pitch coming at them at a speedy 15 miles an hour, and then just smoke that fucker. And unless it's a big beach ball coming at you 15 miles an hour, let it pass. Chill. Drink a Coke, spit some sunflower seeds, and wait till that fat, because it will come. And then you swing. On both sides. When that shit runs up and all of a sudden the entire crypto market 4X's in 2 months, I'm out of here. I'll wait till that shit comes back down to earth, and then we'll start again. And just keep repeating. You just wait for the lob ball. and when a beach ball's coming at you that's nothing but a big pile of money, you don't say, I'm waiting for the next gigantic beach ball of money because a bigger one's coming. That's how stupid that sounds. No, you grab it. And you go back to the dugout. Hit by pitch. Hit by a big money ball pitch. Am I ridiculous? Does any of this make sense? Am I even making any sense? Let me know. I feel like I'm being ridiculous. You'll act like Jim Cramer, sell. Right now, the other day, Jim said, I buy Bitcoin. I buy Bitcoin and Ethereum because I'm worried about my kids. Fuck. Sell. Like that guy. It's incredible. It's incredible how much signal he gives, contrary signal. It's incredible. Did you lose money your first bull run? Yep. I was up a bunch of money, but I thought it'd go forever. That was my first rodeo. The bull always wins. What else you guys want to talk about? So I've been asking you guys for a bit now, put a 1 in the chat if you're really interested in learning more about DeFi, if you're interested in learning how to use DeFi, if that's something you're really, really interested in. Put a 1 in the chat if that's you. I've been taking a poll. A lot of you have been saying you're interested in that. Maybe you particular people on here today aren't interested in that. So let me know. See a few ones coming in. So what I told everybody was that I would take some time and I would put together a DeFi course, right? Teach the basics of DeFi and how to use it. Because it all really started with a guy the other day asking me, hey, what do you do with your profits? What do you do with your stablecoin when you take profits? I'm like, that's a really good question. And I was like, well, I put it into DeFi because I get 5, 10, 15% yield on my stablecoin. And actually a lot of my other coins, I get really nice yield on, like all the way up to like 20%. So I'm just accumulating more coins, accumulating more stable coins. And everyone's like, whoa, I want to learn more. And I'm like, huh. And I took a poll, everyone since said they wanted to. Although we have 50 some people on here, I only saw 3 ones. So I don't know how interested this group is, actually. So maybe I'll just move on because it'll take me a little bit, and I don't want everyone to just leave because I'm talking about something most people don't want me to talk about. I'm I'm not talking about staking. I don't do staking. I don't do staking. I don't do staking. Staking locks my shit up for too long, and the returns aren't very good. They're okay. A couple more ones came in. So, all right, well, I'm going to talk about my DeFi course for a minute, okay? So this week, I took time aside and I went and put together a DeFi course showing people how to do all the basics of DeFi, what I do, some of my, well, all of my favorite sites that I use, a lot of plays that I do, how I would play them. I put together a whole course showing people how to do that. And I will absolutely, positively give it to you for free. I'll give it to you for free. But if you know me at all, I don't give things away for free. Why don't I give things away for free? Because when I give things away for free in the past, people do not use them. I've done it enough times and I don't care what people say to me, how much they believe themselves, they won't use it. Because if they don't invest anything, they're not going to pay any attention. When people pay for something, they tend to pay a lot more attention. They tend to find and spend a lot more time on it, you know what I mean? But when they get it free, they got nothing to lose. So I will give you this course for free, but you have to invest in yourself. Because if I give it to you for true free, you're not going to use it. I just know it. And I want you to use it. I didn't put the time in, not just learning all this stuff, but putting the damn course together to give it away for free so people aren't going to use it or even open it. So you're going to have to pay something, but I'm going to give it to you for free. I was going to sell it for $500, worth way more than that. But I'm going to give it to you for free. If you join my private Discord. And in my private Discord, you get access to me, you get access to other serious investors, you get private, exclusive, member-only live streams, and some other content too. So I thought, you know, give away the DeFi course, which is well worth $500. Give it away for free if people join the Discord. Because even when you go through the course, you know, you're gonna have questions. You're gonna run into obstacles, right? And where better to go than the Discord where you can just ask me directly or someone else in the community, right? And this isn't your run-of-the-mill like free Discord. It's a paid Discord, right? So the people in there are a much higher quality and a much higher skill level. You yourself, by getting in, you show by paying for something that you're a lot more serious, right? Period, end of sentence. If someone's paying to be somewhere, they've already identified them as being more serious and more committed. So that's my little bait, my little incentive is I'll give you that entire DeFi course for free if you join the Discord. And if you want to take advantage of that, go over to dailycryptobull.com. That's the link. Take a screenshot. If it's not for you, it's not for you, okay? I'm not trying to twist your arm or get you to get in there like you joining the Discord. It's not going to change my life. It'll do a lot for you, but it's not going to change my life. That's the link. If it's a hell yes for you, then go and join. If you're on the fence or wishy-washy, don't go join. But I'll give you the whole course for free. And in the Discord, obviously you get community, be around other serious like-minded investors. Discord, where you get to talk with me, direct access to me and other members. We do exclusive live streams just for members. And again, it really helps you level up and grow by being around other experienced people. Again, I'm not trying to twist your arm into this. If it's not for you, that's fine. That's fine. But if you've been looking for something like this and this really seems very interesting to you, there's the link. You'll get that bonus course for free. And currently it's only $59.99 a month and the price will be increasing soon. After so many people take advantage of this, I'm going to increase the price. No scarcity. I'm not screwing around. That's just what will happen. There's the link. Take a screenshot if you'd like. Any questions on that before we go back to the content? Again, not trying to twist your arm or talk you into it. Like, if you see something like that and you're like, yes, that sounds great, then it's for you. If you're like, I don't know, I don't really do this, and that's fine, don't. It's totally fine. But I put together this for people that wanted it. that are looking for a group of more serious people, would like to have more direct access to me, would like to learn more about DeFi and other stuff, and be in a community like that. That's why I put it together. If it's for you, it's for you. If it's not, it's not. Is it expensive? It's $59.99 a month. You know what's really expensive? Ignorance. You know what's really expensive? Not having a network of people to tap into. Those things are really expensive. $59.99 a month, extremely underpriced. But it's enough that anyone that joins it, it's not going to stop most people, but it's enough for them to give some kind of commitment level. You know what I mean? Okay. I'm a college student, so that's why you asked. That's fine. That's fine. And again, it's as low as I can go. And I'm going to be raising the price after I don't know how many people join. I already have an active Discord, right? But I don't talk about it a lot. Today I'm talking about it, and I'll talk about it here for a bit. You know, because I put together this course. We're getting into this situation. I think people now more than ever need to really be around other people that are serious. That's the reason I bring it up. Let's go back to the charts. Well, unless you guys got any other questions. Going once, going twice. All right, I'm gonna go back to the charts. So one chart that I've been looking at was Fartcoin here, okay? Because Fartcoin I think is a pretty good risk on barometer. And we got all the way up here during the Trump coin launch, got all the way up to $2.73. And then we came all the way down to 19.89 cents. But I believed. I was buying back here. I was buying here too, but I was buying down here. And I wrote it, and I sold most of it around here, frankly. And then I rotated it into other stuff, but it kept going. I just think Fartcoin is a winning meme coin. It just, so much about it makes so much sense. And now we've been kind of trading this channel, and we did break out, but I don't know if it's really a confirmed breakout. We'll have to see. This might just be a coming back to the scene of the crime. I'd rather buy Fartcoin down here under $1. But nonetheless, this shows me the risk appetite is still around, you know. It's still here. If it comes down more, this is something to really add to your gauge, to your instrument panel. Now we talked about total crypto market cap. Let's go to something called total 3. So again, we talked about the total market cap being 3.8 trillion, but total 3 is the whole crypto market cap if you take out Bitcoin and ETH, and it's just a little over 1 trillion, okay? This is a really interesting chart to look at. Very interesting chart to look at. So this was the peak back in 2021. Right, January 18, excuse me. And that brought us up to 358 billion, went way down, and then went way up in 2021 to its top of just over 1 trillion, 1.09 trillion. November of 21, that was the peak. Look where we are right now, we're barely above that. And the reality is, we've barely made a new all-time high. Back in December, we got to 1.16. Actually, yeah, 1.16, right? Wait, did I just? Yeah, we got to 1.13 last bull market at the top. And we're below that right now. So this is a really good gauge of the actual altcoin market, right? Everything, if you take out Bitcoin and ETH, so this is that chart, doesn't include these two, it's XRP and everything below it, all the way down to Hades, okay? So it's a pretty good gauge of the altcoin market, and right now we're below 2021 highs. We're below the all-time high, which was barely a new all-time high, barely. 1.13 was the all-time high, we barely beat it, getting up to 1.16. Line it back up, 1.16. And right now we're at 1.02. So to me, this just has a lot more range to go. And it didn't really break out of this little range here. See this little range? Didn't really break out of it until October of 23. And then it went up to the top, down to the bottom, up to the top, down to the bottom, double tap. Seems to be on its way up, but it could come back down. Again, if it hits top of the channel by the end of the year, it'd be at about 2 trillion. If we go altcoin season, which means this price increase would have to accelerate and break out of this channel, it would probably come about up here, which would be about 3.7 trillion. Again, that's the 2017 high, the double tops in 2021 connecting up here, okay? Which would be 3.5x from here. Not bad. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. But then there's this chart. This is called others. So this is the whole crypto market cap excluding the top 10, meaning that market cap is from Hyperliquid and everything below added together. That's what that is. Okay? So this is a real gauge of the down and dirty, true altcoin market, removing the large caps. And right now, it's at 294 billion. The all-time high was still set back here at 464. Wait, I might be wrong. 492 billion. That was back in November of 21, right? That's almost 4 years ago. 492 billion. Right now we're at 294. What? And did we make a new all-time high? At least? There was our high for this since 21. It was in December, 452. So we haven't even made a new all-time high. And it's trading in this channel here, top, bottom, on its way back up. What would be really nice is if this just continued to at least here, right? That would put us at 584. But if we want to see, just like the other ones, if we want to see true altcoin season, it would get up here by the end of the year. Somewhere between here, which would be 2.2 trillion, and here, which would be 3.56 trillion. If we get an altcoin season, you'll see others. So all the cryptos outside the top 10 added together get somewhere up here, probably between about 2 and 3.5 trillion. Between 2 and 3 trillion. Which all of that put together would put the total crypto market cap at its max. Again, somewhere between 8 and 13 trillion. What would that put Bitcoin price at? That put Bitcoin price somewhere between 220 and like 340 by the end of the year. Is that definitely going to happen? Nope, not definitely going to happen. But it's well within the realm of possibility. And that's why I'm bringing it all up. Because right now, I just see a lot more upside than downside across the entire crypto market. That's what I'm getting at. Emphasis on dirty. Yeah, that's right. But, you know, Hyperliquid's number 11. So that's not exactly a dirty one, but it gets real dirty as you start going down, no doubt about it. And I would show you another chart that's the meme coin market cap, but for some reason it's not working on TradingView today. That's a really fun one to look at. Drop some questions or comments in here. XRP is chosen. Be careful drinking too much Kool-Aid. If that gets you emotional, you prove my point. What are people expecting to happen come August 1st? That's just too short of a time frame. That's like barely a week away. That's like next Saturday. All right, wait, that's next Friday. What's going to happen over the next week? You're too zoomed in my opinion. In the other bull runs, interest rates were very low and money was cheap. They haven't even started lowering interest rates. That's true. Right now, the betting markets, like Poly Market, are giving a 56% chance. So they're favoring slightly that they'll cut in September. But as you go out towards the end of the year, I think there's 2 more meetings after that. maybe 3, I can't remember for sure. The probabilities of them cutting by the end of the year are more likely than not. Is that a guarantee? No, but they're more likely than not, and I'd agree with that. Because for many reasons, but Trump really wants it, and he tends to get what he wants. Love him or hate him, objectively, the guy tends to get what he wants. And frankly, the markets want it too. Frankly, I want it too. Who doesn't want it? Jerome Powell doesn't want it. Why? Well, because because he probably shouldn't cut rates in reality. Like, economy's going okay, earnings are going okay, employment is going okay, inflation rates is down in the 2s. Like, why cut? It increases the risk of inflation. And the tariff stuff, as much as the market is kind of ignoring it, and it hasn't had a dramatic impact on consumer prices so far, it still could. And I think the companies have been eating more of that tariff extra expense and not putting it onto the consumer, but they could very well put it onto the consumer. But with that being said, you could also make the argument that, I think the companies are going to have to start passing that tariff inflation onto consumers, which is inflationary itself. So if we lower interest rates, these companies can get cheaper money and they don't have to pass the tariff inflation onto the consumer. So there's a case to be made there for that. Hope that makes sense. Yeah, no, I mean, there was a video clip yesterday that him and Powell were in that building, that new Fed building. That was kind of a funny clip, actually. Those two standing by each other. These two old men. Like, I don't know, it was funny. It's funny, but real. And I don't disagree with Powell. Like, I understand Trump wants the cuts, and frankly, for my bags, cutting would probably be good. And there's a case to be made that cutting would actually be non-inflationary, would be preventing inflation, because again, there's a case to be made that it will allow the companies to get cheaper money so that they don't have as much of a debt burden and they don't have to pass as much of the tariff expense onto the consumer. Hope that makes sense. That's just my thought. I don't know for sure. The market has a fascinating way of throwing things at us we didn't think of and humbling us and all that stuff. So I just try to think in multiple scenarios, and there's a case for not cutting rates and there's a case for cutting rates. I mean, that isn't like self-serving, that is actually like, what should they do for society? But I think ultimately Trump's going to get his way. And, but I don't know. Him coming at Powell, I think it makes Powell more resilient to cutting. I think with Powell, if he took a nicer guy approach, I think he'd be more likely to get his way. But now I think Powell is human. And he's like, this guy is a dick. I don't want to give him anything. I don't want to look like I'm folding because of this guy. And now they're kind of starting to attack him. And I find that rich, because for how much Trump got attacked when he was out of office and running for office, for him to be attacking people like Powell, who didn't attack him at all, who he appointed to the Federal Reserve, not a good look. And I'm an independent. It's my group that actually has the largest factor in determining elections. I'll vote either way, but I see shit like it is. And lots of times I don't like any of my choices, but I gotta pick somebody. And I don't just always pick blue or always pick red. I dream of a true independent candidate that can actually win something with different ideas. That isn't beholden to some big stupid party. What's my top 3 crypto holdings? Stablecoin is my biggest value crypto holding. Didn't expect that, did you? Number 2, depending on the day, either Bitcoin, I'll just say Bitcoin, and very close to that is actually a deep down and dirty meme coin that I don't necessarily want to talk about. I might if you twist me enough. But yeah, which stablecoin? What the fuck is RLUSD? Are you bringing your XRP Kool-Aid in here? Is that an XRP stablecoin? You're on the Kool-Aid, man. You don't know it. You're on the Kool-Aid. To me, you should only be in USDC or USDT. And I tend to often be in USDC more often. Bro, I'm blind. I bought XRP at like 35 cents in June of 2022. And I held it for over 2 fucking years. And I sold it at a very nice profit. It's not like I don't buy it, but I'm not disillusioned to what it is and what it isn't. XRP army assembled. I'm in no army. I'm not part of a party. Parties have tons of bias and they can't see objectively. And that's just the truth of it. So I don't join parties. I try to see the world as objective as I can. Yeah, I sold. And what I did with that money, I've made about an 8x since. Because I'm an investor. I rotate capital to opportunities. I don't get married to bags. I don't drink Kool-Aid or any of that stuff. I used to, but you learn that ends up not being a great idea usually. So do what you want. I was saying in the bear market, when XRP was at 35 cents, looking at the charts and everything, I was like, I think XRP has a pretty good shot at getting to about $10, and people thought I was crazy. And I go, listen, I don't even like XRP. But to me, it looks like it'll probably get to about $10, maybe higher. And I still sold it like $270 because I wouldn't buy it at $270. I can get more returns than other things. That's the way I viewed it. And so far, that has played out very well. But do what you want, whatever's best for you. What's best for me isn't necessarily best for you. I'm going to hold some for the future. To me, XRP is very much not a functional part of the future. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. There's opportunities everywhere. I don't drink Kool-Aid, I don't join tribes, I don't marry my bags. I'm not going to check out ZBCN, whatever the fuck that is. I'm very eyed in on the few things I pay attention to because I've been tracking them a long time and watching. I watch a lot of things, but I have a very strict kind of metric list. And it changes moment to moment. Well, not moment to moment, not like day to day, but I mean like market circumstance to market circumstance. And I'm always looking at new data. And for me, the way that, my risk profile, the way I want to invest, not that it's the right way or the way everyone should do it, but for me, about 10 days ago, I sold my lower risk positions. Like I sold my Solana. I sold, what else did I sell? I sold my JLP, I sold my Solana, I sold my Jupiter. It was actually all in the Solana environment now that I think about it. Nothing against Solana, that's just, I tend to favor the Solana environment. I think it's the best RR risk return environment. Anyways, so I went into stablecoin. And I sold a little too early, oh well, whatever. And then last week, I sold all my Hyperliquid at $46.70 into USDC with the full intention of buying it back lower, because everything looked to me like Hyperliquid had been putting in kind of it had broken out, got to almost $50. It was ahead of most of the market. It was like Hyperliquid and Bitcoin were the things really leading the way. And it got to almost $50, like $49.70, something like that. And then it was chopping down around like, 45 to 49. And I'm like, this chart really looks like it's gonna go lower to me. And I think it's just doing a good job of trying to hold itself, but it looks like it wants to come down, and it should correct some because it went up so much. So I sold it at $46.70 last Thursday. And then yesterday, Thursday, a week later, I bought back at just under $42, increasing my total Hyperliquid holdings by 12%. So now I have 12% more Hyperliquid tokens. I'm pleased. If it goes lower, fine. I'm very bullish on Hyperliquid from a fundamental standpoint, and the market loves its standpoint. So it just checks all the boxes about as well as anything I've ever seen. Now, where will it be years from now? I don't know. But it looks really fucking clear and really fucking good for the foreseeable future. At least the rest of this cyclical bull run, if that's all we have. And that is a certain lower risk position, but more outsized returns than things in the top 10 probably. I'm probably going to make more money in Hyperliquid than I am Cardano or XRP or Solana or Bitcoin. But with not crazy ass risk like XYZ number 3,000 shitcoin, And then the things I didn't sell were actually like the two meme coins, my highest risk positions. See, I went into cash with my lower risk positions. But with giving myself, I took the cash so that I could have stablecoin. I put it in a DeFi so it was getting really nice yield. If you want to learn more about DeFi, go to dailycryptobull.com. If you join my Discord, you get my whole DeFi master course for free, $500 course. And you're around me and other serious people by being in the Discord. Anyways, so I did that to kind of like lower risk my entire portfolio, but left open my highest risk positions because they have the most upside. They also have the most downside, but because I'm sitting here in stablecoin, I can sleep a lot easier knowing that my overall balance is anchored. And I hope that, I don't know if that makes any sense. That was the way that I executed all of it. Would have I done some change? The only changes I really would have done would have I would have waited a little bit longer to sell my like Solana and stuff. But whatever, it was at the upper part of a range. I didn't want to deal with another pullback. Bitcoin was only like 113,000 at the time. It had made a new all-time high, but I didn't know if it was going to go much higher. I'm like, it just makes sense. I can sleep better at night. If I sell this stuff and go into cash, if there's a pullback, awesome. I can buy stuff. If it goes up, that's fine. I still have my highest risk stuff to go up with it. That was my thought process. And it's about making moves like that, in my opinion. Doing things, being more versatile, being more flexible, and it just comes with time and experience. I'm not saying, look at me, I'm the best in the world, but I'm a lot better than I used to be. And that's all we can do. That's all we can really do, I think. Yeah. I de-risked it by selling my lowest risk positions, actually, which is kind of an odd play, some would say. But I got rid of the things that had the least upside, but they moved first, and turned them into cash to kind of anchor my portfolio balance, and then left room for upside with my higher risk positions and left room for downside, but I have the cash, so I'll buy back into other things if things go the other way on me. I'm not about riding shit up and down. I've done that. I'll probably do it again. The markets are tricky, and they can really get you caught in, you know. But yeah. I suppose I'll ask again real quick. Is there anyone in here that would like to be in my private Discord? Put a 1 in the chat if that's you. It's not free. Because people that will pay tend to pay more attention and take things more seriously. The crypto market likes to fuck with your emotions, very much so. Very, very much so. Very much so. My phone is getting pretty low on battery. So I'll run through this real quick again one more time. So over here on Daily Crypto Bull, if this is for you, it's for you. If it's not, it's not. That's okay. I'm not going to sit here and try to talk you into it. I'm just going to tell you what it is. So over here, take a screenshot if you want. I was taking a poll over the past few streams I did, and people really wanted to learn more about DeFi, you know, how to get yield on stable coins, how to get yield on their other crypto coins, and how to really use all this stuff. So I spent a couple days and put together this DeFi mastery course because I've been doing DeFi since DeFi started. So I know a lot about it. So I put together a whole course helping you really get up and going on it. And I say it's worth at least $500, but I'm gonna give it to you completely free if you join my private Discord, which is where you get to have more direct access to me and other serious, like-minded investors, right? You wanna ask me a question in there. I'm gonna answer it. You wanna talk with other serious, intelligent people? Well, they're in there too. What a breath of fresh air, right? And I also do exclusive live streams for members. Okay? And it really just helps you level up a lot more. Being around me, being around other serious people, it really helps you think differently and grow more. If that's something you're interested in, that's what this whole thing's about. And the Discord, it's only $59.99 a month, right? And for a limited time, I'm giving away that bonus mastery course for free. And of course, the price will be increasing soon after, I don't know how many people. I don't know when I'm gonna increase the price, but I will. If it's for you, it's for you. If it's not, it's not. That's fine. dailycryptobull.com. There's the link. If you knew a lot about it, you would explain impermanent loss and how it relates to DeFi and Bitcoin versus USD. Why is my comment not there? Explain it to the chat what impermanent loss is and how it relates to Bitcoin versus USD as their base. Really? I'm giving a course to people that don't know how to use DeFi, and you want me to start right away with talking about impermanent loss? There's lots of DeFi you can do that impermanent loss doesn't play a factor at all. So, Jewacuter, impermanent loss is when you create I don't even want to explain it because it's going to go over most people's heads. That's why I have the course, to explain this type of stuff and walk them through it. It's where you experience loss, but it's not really loss. It's like when you sell something at, say, $100 and it goes to 120 and you get that extra $20. It's kind of like that. On the flip side, when things go down, you actually lose less money too, being in liquidity positions. And if you keep kind of rebalancing them over time, you actually tend to outperform just sitting in a coin, because you get a really nice fat yield in between as you reposition. See, most people don't understand what I'm talking about. Jewacuter. And I think you're being a little arrogant with your tone, I think. That's why I put together an entire course talking about all that stuff and showing people how to start doing it. And I'm not even talking about liquidity positions. I talk about those in there. but people should be at least lending, which there is no impermanent loss, and they just get a nice yield. I'll move on. Understood, thanks. Talk, you did? Really? Then you probably already know a bit about DeFi, because me talking about that, right over people's heads. That's why I put together that course. That's why people want to learn about DeFi. Best I can tell, less than 2% of people in crypto have ever used DeFi or even know how to use it, that's for sure. And so it's a big, big advantage, a big tool to have in your tool belt to really get a lot more out of these markets if you are one of the very few people in crypto that actually know how to use DeFi, because it's intimidating. So I walk through not only how to use it, but the sites I use, and I assess a lot of the positions that I'm kind of looking at there. It's extremely valuable. I said it's worth $500, it's worth at least that, but I'll give it to you for free if you'll invest in yourself, make a smart decision, and join a group of like-minded, serious investors led by me. But if it's not for you, it's not for you, that's fine. Just saying. Crypto's a lonely game. Most people are just doing it alone. Maybe they're in a free group here or there, but it's a bunch of noise and a bunch of shit talkers. Paid groups are very different. Very different quality of people. Very different mindset. So that's my bait. Give you that whole course to come try out the Discord. I think I bought that course. You definitely didn't, because I just put it together this week. You may have gotten other things that I taught about DeFi, because I've taught about DeFi before, but I haven't put together a course exactly like this before. This went through, what I really focus on is, first of all, being able to use on-chain, so being able to swap, right? Show you that, show you how to set up a wallet, but then show you how to get into lending, what different chains I actually use, what different sites I use, how to get into liquidity providing, how to maximize it, how to adjust positions, stuff like that. Most of you don't understand what that means. What I'll say is that you're much better off knowing how to use DeFi when most people don't, than being like most people and not knowing how to use it. So that's my bait. $59.99 a month. Is that gonna break the bank for you? Like, you guys want to get rich in crypto, but $60 a month to be with a crypto vet and other crypto vets and learn some real stuff and level up faster? You can't invest in yourself? Okay. All right. I'm sure you'll do just fine. Sophia says, I'll definitely get it. Really what I'm trying to get people to do that want to, right? If you're a fair weather crypto investor and you know if you're serious, the Discord's really for serious people. Not that I'm discouraging anyone from joining, because if you're going to pay money and try to learn, you're serious, okay? But the whole thing is, like, even if I gave you the course, right, or you bought it from me, you're going to have questions. You're going to run into situations. You're going to run into obstacles that I couldn't possibly account for. But I can tell you, I've been using DeFi since it began. I have ran into every goddamn thing, most likely, that you're going to run into. And if I haven't, someone else in Discord has. And we share all kinds of higher level ideas. For $60 a month, there's nothing to think about. But again, if it's not for you, if you're like, I don't have the money, well, then I don't know why you're in crypto. If $60 is a lot of money to you, what do you, like, I'm gonna be real with you, like, what are you doing here? Like, what do you think's gonna happen? If $60 is a lot of money, like what do you think you're gonna get here? I mean, you learn about crypto, that's cool. But I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, odds are you probably haven't bought anything. And if you have, I don't know. Just my thoughts. DeFi is the new stock trader, like 1913, far ahead of the curve. It really is. Like, it's a whole offering, right? Like, I went into Stablecoin, right? When I sold, say, my Hyperliquid and my other positions. Well, guess what I did with them? I went and put them somewhere where I could get a really nice yield. I was getting about 11% yield, virtually risk-free, on my stablecoin as I just sit there and wait to deploy it. 11%? The stock market on average makes 10 to 12%. I'm sitting there getting 11% just sitting in cash without having to deal with any down volatility. I sleep like a baby. And I can just wait for that big beach ball to come in for me to take my capital out of its nice, safe yield position and deploy it into risk assets. But if I take my risk assets and put them into a liquidity position and gain a yield, I mean, in the video, I show you how on a couple cryptos, I was making, like when I recorded it this week, I found these positions, over 1% a day. Not 1% a year, a day. I mean, if I got $100 in there, the next day I'll have 101, and then 102, and 103. Now I may need to rebalance the position, but as I do that over the course of several weeks or months, I'm just getting this really nice yield, and any impermanent loss I take, I'm talking over people's heads, so I'll try not to do that. I should just keep it more curiosity invoking instead of super explanatory. That's what the course is for. What's the link? That's the link. Take a screenshot. This bonus will be going away and the price will be going up. I'm not saying that to have some sales tactic. I'm just telling you the truth. But the reality is, doing crypto alone, you're just going to do a lot better doing it with people, especially experienced people. You're going to do better in crypto if you learn skills and increase your skills. Education. Doing what most people do is going to get you what most people get, and I'll tell you by far most people lose money in crypto. And almost everybody's just trying to get everything for free, not realizing how much it actually costs them to be so cheap. All right. Yeah, well, Juacuter, it's just, I can tell that you probably know more than most people. So it's just, I don't want to talk over people's heads. That's why I put that together. Drop any other questions or comments here. I'm going to wrap this up here very shortly. My phone, I just got a flash that I'm down to sub 20% battery. I could plug it in, but then the phone doesn't sit up very well. I don't know. And I've been on here for an hour and a half. And I was on TikTok for like an hour. So I've been live for like, I don't know, 2.5, 3 hours today. About time for me to get going. And I got to pee. Coffee's got to go somewhere. All right, give me some last questions here. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't. If you're enjoying this, if you'd like to be on more of my live streams. If you'd like to just have more access to me, more access to my community of serious investors, go to dailycryptobull.com. Join the Discord. It's only $60 a month. It's the cost of a few Chipotle burritos. And I have that bonus DeFi mastery course that you'll get as a welcome bonus. Thanks for taking questions. You're welcome, Trust. Well, it's been go time. It's been go time, but I also don't think I think that people also try to expect way too much to happen too fast. As crypto exists longer and longer, things actually move slower. Bitcoin's an ego test and you passed. Cool. I'm out of water. You don't see it? On dailycryptobull.com? Maybe you typed, maybe you had a typo in there, crypto. I swear to God, even though I type that all the time, I will commonly misspell crypto. Just because I go through it so quick. I'm like, what? Oh, I spelled it wrong. What do you teach on your Discord group? It's not like so much about teaching. It's about being like, I mean, when I do the private streams, we go through stuff, but it's more like people being able to talk with other people. Like, you might go talk with people on Twitter. You might go talk with people in free Discords. But those conversations and the noise in those things it's such lower quality than being in a group where people actually pay to be there. It's just a different level of person, and it's a different vibe completely. That's about the only way I can put it. And for $60 a month, I mean, what's the risk, right? Probably wouldn't flinch spending $600 in some shitty meme coin. $60. But I don't want to have to like twist anyone's arm to come in. I don't want to deal with that. I want people that want to be in there. Thanks, Mr. Meaner. I actually made this shirt a few years ago. When they went, well, that's the best time to pay attention. When shit becomes less interesting, because that's usually when the best discounts are available. USD, Bitcoin alt chart. Yeah, no, I mean, it's just, yeah, Bitcoin has massively outperformed the buying power of the dollar. No surprise there. I don't think anyone even needs to see a chart on that. I mean, the dollar itself in buying power in the last 100 years is down in buying power, down 99%. And over the last 16 years, I don't remember how much it's down, but Bitcoin's up. The chart's almost just like completely vertical. Bitcoin value to dollar buying power. What's up, Slayman? I'm gonna hop off here pretty soon. My phone is on very low battery. Again, I could plug it in, but I've been on here for a while. It kind of doesn't sit very well like this, you know what I mean? Like, I think I gotta kind of hold it. Man, I don't know. But I gotta go to the restroom anyways. All right, y'all. I am gonna head out of here. If you want to take me up, if you want to learn more about DeFi, as a little bit of bait, I'm giving you this DeFi mastery course, right? Every day that goes by that you don't know how to learn DeFi, every day that has gone by, you've only been hurting yourself and lowering how hard you can win, I guess is how I would put it, right? So, I mean, how much longer do you want to wait to learn that stuff? Very few people know how to use it, and they're at a disadvantage. So it's just, if you know how to use it, you're at such a larger advantage. So I'm giving that course away for free if you join my private Discord, which is only $60 a month, where you get access to my private Discord, so you get community, you get to be around other serious, like-minded investors, and you get more access to me. Like, you can ask a question in there, and I'm probably gonna be the one to answer it. I'm in there all the time. And then we do exclusive live member streams just for members. And it's just a great way to level up a hell of a lot faster by being around people that are serious, right? If that's a lot of money to you, I don't know, I mean, just to be like straight, like I don't know what you expect to get out of crypto. But anyways, I'm not trying to twist anyone's arm into it. Last thing I want is people that are just like wishy-washy and on the fence all the time with everything and not serious, like being here. This is for serious people. There's the link. I don't know after how many people, but after so many, I will increase the price. And the bonus will be going away. So there's the link, take a screenshot. myname.com, dailycryptobull.com. Again, it's for serious people. If I'm not just trying to explain what it is, I guess. I'm not trying to like twist your arm, talk you into it, because it's not what I want. I don't want people coming in there where they're just fleety and wishy-washy and fair weather in the first place. It's for serious people. If you consider yourself a serious crypto investor and you realize being around other serious investors is advantageous to you, well, then this is for you. If you think that paying for something is a scam, well, you have some maturing to do, but it's not for you. All right, y'all, I'm gonna head out. I will see you on the other side.